Hello there, this is the World News at 12 on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. My name is Ijeoma Innocent and these are the top stories. Atiku OB protest as BBC fact-checkers declare President Tinubu over certificate forgery case. Niger Delta Group accuses NNPC boss Kyari of misconduct, demands his sack. EFCC probes former governors and SDP gubernatorial candidate alleges violence in Kogi is state-sponsored. On the foreign scene, wife of Gabon's deposed leader, Ali Bongo, jailed. Details now. Thank you for staying with us. The World News at 12 begins with the camps of the People's Democratic Party, PDP standard bearer Atiku Abubakar and the Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi protesting the BBC report that there is no evidence to back the diploma forgery allegations against President Bola Tinubu. The BBC's global disinformation team had in a fact-checking report published on Wednesday said there was no evidence that President Tinubu forged the Chicago State University certificate he submitted to the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to contest the February presidential election. The release of the president's academic documents is the culmination of a judicial case filed in August by former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, who is seeking to overturn the president's electoral victory at the Supreme Court. In a response to the new development, Atiku's Special Assistant on Public Communications, Frank Shaibu, in a statement described the report as a hatchet job. He claimed that the report is part of President Tinubu's administration's propaganda program. Shaibu said sometime last week when the National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, issued a final warning to Arise News Television, the PDP had pointed out that the Tinubu administration was on the verge of launching a full-blown propaganda and also intimidating uncooperative media houses into discrediting and downplaying the CSU scandal. Shaibu lampooned the BBC for allegedly attempting to bamboozle Nigerians with a jaundiced report when the details are clear for everyone to see. Atiku's aide alleged that the BBC investigation was carried out with a predetermined goal to clear President Tinubu. He called on the BBC and other fact-checkers to be more circumspect, adding that their job was too sensitive to entertain errors. Also speaking, the PDP Deputy National Youth Leader Timothy Osadolo insisted that Tinubu's CSU certificate presented to INEC was not genuine. Similarly, the leadership of the Labour Party said they were not moved by the report of the British media outfit, which it hinted was damage control to change the certificate saga narrative. The National Legal Advisor of the party, Kehinde Edun, said regardless of what anyone may say, the president must take responsibility for the confusion he's putting the country through. But responding to both parties, the APC Director of Publicity, Bala Ibrahim, slammed the PDP standard bearer over the certificate controversy. He applauded the BBC, describing its investigation as factual and a reflection of reality. Ibrahim also dismissed insinuations that the foreign media might have been compromised to give the president a clean bill. Well, now joining me to discuss this and other issues on the World News at 12 today, we have Mr. Henry Ugochukwu, a journalist and public affairs analyst. Good afternoon, Mr. Ugochukwu.
Good afternoon.
Thank you so much for coming.
That's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure having you here. Well, now, this story right here is the culmination of several months of Atiku going through motions to get the president, allegedly forged certificates to know if it was actually genuine or not, which the APC and the presidency have insisted that indeed it is. Well, the newest development is the BBC's global disinformation team in their fact-checking report, which was published yesterday, saying, there was no evidence. But the PDP insists that what Atiku got was evidence. The Labour Party as well insists that what they got was evidence. In fact, the APC has called for Atiku and Obi to be arrested for treason for saying that the president's identity is not real. What do you make of this whole situation, sir?
Yeah, actually, my response to this is hypothetical. How did we get here as a nation and as a people? Many elections have come and passed. Why is this one extremely different from others? Nigerians should ask questions across party lines. But in this case, you see, it appears there's a sharp distraction from the core things Nigerians wanted. Nigerians are hungry. Nigerians are bamboozled, posed everywhere, embarrassed and harassed across the borders. To a point that having a Nigerian green passport actually means embarrassment to people. Ask again, how did we get here? You see, the so-called global BBC disinformation media, whatever they call it, I don't know where that would come from. The certificates are there in the market square and the public square. Issue is that, did our president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, attend Chicago University at all? Where the transcript? What does it say? Who is there? They allege it's a woman. That equally is in the public square, public domain. And we're looking at issues as they are. Why this so much distraction of certificate and no certificate? Did INEC do its diligence well before getting this man on board to contest? If no, why? How come this president was once the governor of Lagos State? How did he get there? You see, when people want to mix grain with rice and beans and sand, you see that people lose course. Please, APC, PDP, Labour Party should let Nigerians be. Wait for next 3-4 years and the election is coming. There could be issues that will come up in the next election. Please, I plead with Nigerians. We are hungry. You see, after the whole election and so and so on, people are on the street hungry, begging for food. This is not what they voted for. APC people should actually, the leadership of APC, Mr. President, my beloved Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu, I say my beloved because I see him as a man of vision. You should understand Nigerians are suffering. Nigerians are on the street begging for food. Nigerians are embarrassed on everywhere. If Nigerian nurses in the UK today are being asked to be verified again, their certificates. Those in the US, the same thing are facing. I have evidence. How did we get here? Simply because a certain Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria today. In the beginning, it was not so. Why are we like this as a people? Please, let us be. APC politicians, let Nigerians be. Give this man the chance. Okay, he has gotten a mantle. He was given either by hook or crook. He is the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria today. Festus Keyamo has said, please, Atiku, help us find the third party that issued that certificate to the president, as Chicago University stated. Please, the onus falls on Atiku Abubakar. Please help us get the third party. What's their name? Let's continue with this. If one wants to dance in the market square, but Nigeria doesn't need these things. Let Nigerians be, please. Atiku Abubakar, please wait for the next 4 years. Mr. PDPs, wait for the next 4 years. Let us not throw the bath and the baby into the water and throw them away. Nigerians are hungry. Nigerians are hungry, please. Atiku Abubakar, please, Nigerians are hungry. Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Nigerians are hungry. Mr. PDPs, Nigerians are hungry. Let the government be ready. Let them concentrate on governance. The roads are bad. Is it when every Nigerian will plunge into the Atlantic Ocean, they will know that they have no place to rule anymore? Please, they should share their swords and let this man be, please.
Talking about shooting their swords, are you saying that the Labour Party and the PDP should, they don't need to take this case to the Supreme Court anymore, and that the problems of Nigerians are more than forgery or no forgery, that the problems of Nigerians are just good governance? If you said whether by hook, if you got here whether by hook or by crook, if is someone who allegedly got governance by crook, are they, can they give the good governance the Nigerians require, if indeed that's just the only thing we need? Because we also talk about the reputation of Nigerians on the international scene being disturbed by all of these cases. Okay,
the matter is already at the Supreme Court, I believe, there. When I say they should let Nigerians be, the Supreme Court should decide finally the direction we are going. The reputation of Nigeria, this certificate saga has dealt Nigerians very big blow. Nigerians' reputation, even Nigerians as a people. How did you get here? Ask that question first. Atiku Abubakar went to see, I'm not a member of APC for information, but I'm a Nigerian, not Nigerian, who is hungry on the street, who is looking for what to do. I deserve better. And I believe many Nigerians deserve better. There are so much distraction on this certificate saga and so on. They should use it against the president by next election. That's what I'm saying.
All right, let's talk about the PDP, who has been alleging since last week that the President Tinubu administration is trying to gag the press. Now, they premise this on the fact that sometime last week, Arise Television was given a final warning by the NBC, saying that if you keep bringing guests who will disparage the president, the presidency, who will say what the NBC thinks is they are not supposed to say, then they will be fined again. Recall that in February they were fined about 2 million naira. Right now, there is a social media regulation bill before the National Assembly. Is the PDP really right in what they're saying?
I think the social media bill at this assembly ought to have come before now. Remember, no government has ever come in place and the people will say it's not gagging the press. I want you to understand this. I'm a journalist, I'm not telling you. And I tell you, Arise Television, they're doing a wonderful job. Where others are sleeping, they are awake. That's why it's called Arise. So, but they shouldn't be gagged. See, the warning is just the government. Let me tell you, the vuvuzelas of the government, or the present government, are giving the government a bad image. I don't think the president wants to gag the press. But his foot soldiers, so to say, are the people who are giving him a bad name. Okay? And then there should be social responsibility. In journalism, that's what's called fact check. You understand? So there should be social responsibility in all our activities in the media, both social and the mainstream media. Are you getting it? That's my response to that.
All right, then. Thank you so much. Let's talk about a Niger Delta group under the aegis of the Niger Delta Coalition has demanded the sacking of the group managing director of Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, Mele Kyari, over what they called gross misconduct and high-handedness. Other allegations the group leveled against Kyari included financial impropriety, misuse of authority, lack of vision, poor performance, and autocratic conduct, amongst others. The NDC, which is a coalition of over 26 youth associations across the Niger Delta region, held a peaceful protest march in Warri, Delta State yesterday and called on President Bola Tinubu to immediately remove Kyari to save the country's oil industry. The protesters in the numbers barricaded the entrance of the NNPC building to register their grievances, accompanied by chants of solidarity songs, displaying placards with several inscriptions. While addressing journalists during the protest, the national coordinator of the Niger Delta Youth Alliance, Oris Bakpa, who spoke on behalf of the NDC, urged President Tinubu to take immediate action by removing Kyari from office and instituting a comprehensive inquiry into his conduct while in office. They urged the president to launch an investigation into the leadership and management of the NNPCL with a view to addressing the urgent issues of refinery rehabilitation. Now, this is a group, a coalition of several different, about 26 youth associations from the Niger Delta region coming to call for the sack of the NNPCL boss, that's Mele Kyari, who said about 2 or 3 days ago, he said, oh, by 2024, Nigeria will begin to export, refined products, not just export crude this time around, but refined products. They accused him of financial impropriety, misuse of authority, lack of vision, poor performance, and autocratic conduct, amongst many other things. Now, you will recall that the NNPCL boss is one person that his position has not changed from the Buhari administration. This sentiment, or rather this opinion that the NDC, that they are saying, is it something that you agree with? Or do you think that the NNPCL boss is doing his best with the situation of petroleum in the country?
My response to that is that NNPC has been a kind of sport of corruption for the fact that whatever is happening there has just pointed to corruption. Mele Kyari have been there for quite a long time, and every citizen, even Nigeria, has a right to protest. But the protest must be lawful, must be guided by the law. I think the next step they should take is not just by protest, it's just to hit the courtroom and get the guy sued. Then they have the facts, and then they have the checks. So they present to the law court and get a legal means of getting the man off from there. But when somebody wants to take things on tribal basis and whatever, that's why I don't take it. Ethnic, I am supposed to be there. A man from Nigeria that's supposed to be there. People that have been there, what are they doing? Both the NDC and the NNPC. So the issue there is that the people taking their protest peacefully, that's okay, commendable, wonderful. They should equally take a further step.
So you think that the case here is not just a case of non-performance on the case of the NNPC boss, but that these people want their own person to be to head, the NNPCL?
I am not going that direction to say they want their people. No. What I'm saying is they are protesting for non-performance. Corruption is added to it. Not so. Then I'm saying in that protest, they have the states have a right to protest. But what I'm saying, their protest must be peaceful, must be guided by the law, and then they should go further by going to court.
Right then. Finally, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, says it has recovered the combined sum of 27.2 billion naira and $19 million from 3 different money laundering cases. The agency disclosed that out of the 27.2 billion naira, about 12.7 billion was recovered from one individual. According to the commission, it is also investigating former governors, ex-ministers, and several government officials across the country. The acting EFCC chairman, Abdul Karim Chukol, who disclosed this in Lagos during a media interaction with select journalists, said further efforts were being made by the agency to recover more illicit funds. He added that the agency would soon make public details of its ongoing investigations into the activities of some past leaders. The EFCC boss, who was represented by the spokesperson for the commission, Dele Oyewale, said the anti-graft agency had received several petitions against former governors, ex-ministers, and government officials. The anti-graft agency is also carrying out ongoing investigations into some monumental procurement fraud involving some officials of the Federal Ministry of Power and the Ministry of Agriculture. Oyewale said the anti-graft agency has seized several houses in the Federal Capital Territory, Lagos and Cross River State, which are proceeds of funds meant for the Mambila and the Zungeru power projects that were diverted through sundry Bureau de Change operators. Reminded that some former governors who are now ministers in the current administration and current members of the National Assembly have allegations of fraud against them, the EFCC boss said investigations were ongoing. He assured Nigerians that once investigations are concluded, those involved will be persecuted according to the laws of the land, irrespective of the office they occupied. He also noted that the agency was more focused on preventing financial and economic crimes, noting that it was more cost-effective to do so. Well, I still have Mr. Henry Ugochukwu, a seasoned journalist and public affairs commentator right here in the studio. Mr. Ugochukwu, let's talk about this. It's many people, including critics, have said it's quite commendable that the EFCC is, they are going after people who have laundered the country's funds. But then, should they not take it a step further by naming and shaming these individuals?
Yeah, actually, I'm looking at what's the mechanism for prevention. When you say, I want to prevent, the most important is to prevent crime, money laundering before it becomes a full-blown crime. What's the mechanism set in place? You see, I think the thing is, there should be investigation and prosecution. After prosecution, the person should go to jail. All this plea bargaining does not work anymore. Nigerian corrupt Nigerian politician has a very thick skin against whatever you want to drag him. So plea bargaining, get the money from the person and then let him go to jail. That's how a deterrent. But the EFCC did a great job, wonderful job, honestly. They did a wonderful job. I wish every agency would work the way they are working. That'd be wonderful. And then even NDLEA, they're doing a wonderful job too.
You spoke about prevention. The agency just recovered 27.2 billion on one hand and $19 million from 3 different money laundering cases. Now, of all of these funds, 12.7 billion naira was recovered from just one individual. If you're talking about prevention, how do you, quote and unquote, stop a thief from stealing?
Okay, you see, if you have a kind of modus operandum that operates, first of all, there's a template laid down on the table for every political aspirant. You have to pass through those things, those stages before you're appointed or before you're elected. So when those things, that's where the prevention comes in. And you have to look at the psychology of a politician. You look at his background, you look at where he's coming from, the antecedents, and his history. It's from there the prevention comes in. You understand? But in a situation whereby you're going only for recovery, you say the best thing you're going for now is prevention. What are the mechanisms? And I've said these things here. Do you understand? It's just like somebody speaking to the waters. The water makes noise, makes sound. Are you still here? So that's what I'm saying. So the prevention, what are the mechanism? I'm talking about spotting before an action is taken over. Then history of whoever is coming to political appointment, who is appointed somewhere. So when you appoint me, my grandfather is a criminal. Was he in government before? Yes, he was a criminal, and they appointed me. I have to build on the legacy of my father. So that's what's happening in Nigeria today. One politician will come after a whole shenanigans he has put down for the people. His son is up here, maybe in London. After school, he bring the son down in Nigeria. He become a senator. So what do you want to bring?
Is that to say people who already have these allegations against them should not be they should not be voted or appointed into office again?
The law should be there. Once you have a history of corruption verified, proven, okay, then your family line, your bloodline will have you banned.
Wouldn't that be visiting the sins of the fathers upon the sons?
Some societies have it, like in the US. They have such thing happening. The president today, he messed up. All his lineage. Once they come up to campaign, they use it against them, and the people wouldn't vote for them. So you see that one of the preventive mechanisms I'm talking about, it has to be constitutional.
Talking about mechanisms of prevention and fact checking and investigating people, let's go back to the issue that is in court, that the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal that they ruled on, that they gave judgment on, which is now before the Supreme Court. In all of this, INEC has not come out to say anything. They are the one who received the reportedly or allegedly forged certificates, but they've not come out to say anything. Does that mean that it is not in INEC's place to do proper fact checking and investigation of people who are going to be on the roster to be voted in?
So when you talk about INEC, not just this INEC, the INEC we've been having before now, how independent are they? That's the issue. That word independent is just ceremonial independent. You can see that even in the court, it was in the appeal court, it was in tribunal, it was like INEC was on that party, aligning with the APC government against the other people. But we are all Nigerians. So the party itself, the INEC itself, there should be an independent body monitoring INEC itself. If there's an independent body monitoring the independence of INEC, that would be very good. But if there's no other body monitoring INEC, INEC will act like a jagaban.
Is that assuming that INEC itself cannot be free from, any allegations of being corrupted from the outside? Because if the independent in their name, is it just there, for show? If we have another body to now monitor INEC, wouldn't that be spending the country's funds on just creating institutions when one should be able to stand on its own and do what it needs to do without fear of without fear of favor, without actually being corrupted?
If you have ICPC and you have EFCC, why not another body that monitor INEC? That's the answer.
And that's it.
Yeah.
All right. I have been speaking with Mr. Henry Ugochukwu, a seasoned journalist and the public affairs commentator right here on the World News at 12. I want to say thank you so much, Mr. Ugochukwu, for joining me. It's a pleasure having you here as well.
Bye.
Elsewhere, the Social Democratic Party SDP governorship candidate in the forthcoming November governorship election in Kogi State, Muritala Ajaka, has alleged that the violence in the state is being sponsored by the government. Muritala Ajaka stated this during an interview on Channels TV's program, Politics Today. In his words, all the violence in Kogi is state-sponsored. The state government is the problem. They are the ones sponsoring all these attackers. The attacks are caused by the government through the council chairman, end quote. But responding, the State Commissioner for Information, Kingsley Fanwo, said that Ajaka had no antecedent. He said that the government had decided that it would not join issues with Ajaka as he was engaging in blackmail. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Air Force had said it will deploy additional aircraft for combat operations in the country. Chief of Air Staff Air Marshal Hassan Bala Abubakar disclosed this on Wednesday while delivering 2 Diamond 62 multi-purpose platform special mission aircraft to the 303 medium aircraft group in Ilorin. According to him, the additional aircraft, which are the last set of the 4 purchased, will be deployed to operational areas where they are most needed in any part of the country. He said the federal government is set to acquire additional combat platforms for the force. Speaking during the occasion, the Kwara State Governor Abdul Rahman Abdul Razak said the aircraft will strengthen the country's surveillance and search and rescue capabilities. You are currently listening to the World News at 12 on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. After the break, we'll bring you stories on the foreign scene. Just stay with us. Welcome back. You're still listening to the World News at 12 right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. And now on the foreign scene, the wife of Gabon's deposed President Ali Bongo Ondimba who has been under house arrest since a coup in the Central African country in late August, has been jailed, according to her lawyer. Sylvia Bongo Ondimba Valentin, suspected of allegedly embezzling public funds, was jailed late on Wednesday, according to her lawyer Francois Zimere, who condemned what he calls the arbitrary and illegal procedure. Bongo's wife was charged on September 28 with money laundering, forgery and falsification of records. Sylvia Bongo has been under house arrest in the capital, Libreville, since the August 30 coup brought down the curtain on 55 years of Bongo dynasty rule. The push-sheets allege the former head of state and his entourage falsified the election results. They also accuse Sylvia Bongo and her son Nuruddin Bongo Valentin of manipulating the former president, who has not fully recovered from a serious stroke in 2018. They say the two have effectively run the oil-rich country for the past 5 years and have misused the public funds. Nuruddin Bongo Valentin has been placed in detention since the coup and charged with corruption. The 64-year-old President Ali Bongo, who had ruled the Central African country since 2009, was overthrown by military leaders moments after being proclaimed the winner in the presidential election. And that's it in the World News at 12. Just before we wrap up, let's take a look at the top stories again. You heard that Atiku and OB's camps have protested as BBC fact-checkers declare President Tinubu over certificate forgery case. A Niger Delta group has accused NNPC boss Kyari of misconduct and have demanded his sack. The EFCC is probing former governors, ex-ministers, and have recovered 12.7 billion naira from one individual. And the SDP gubernatorial candidates have alleged that violence in Kogi is state-sponsored. On the foreign scene, the wife of Gabon's deposed leader, Ali Bongo, has been jailed. And that is a wrap on the World News at 12. My name is Ijeoma Innocent. Please follow our social media handles at VOP903FM for coverage of your live events and brand news mentioned on the news bulletins. Do send a mail to news@voiceofthepeople.ng. Good afternoon and thank you for listening. Up next is Matters with Ikami Jude. Do stay tuned.